Okay, so on this tactics board session, I'm going to talk a little bit about the role of the modern defender. And the knock-on effect of why we talk about this is the reasons why you have to rotate positions at younger ages and why players have to have an understanding of where and how they play across the pitch. Football's becoming a lot more fluid and there's a lot less of you stand here, this is your position. It's not as rigid anymore, so it's changing massively. So I use, for example, a right back, and a lot of the time talk about kind of a Kyle Walker's probably one of the ones that does this the most, but it's becoming more and more used with clubs and players that they have to be flexible and adaptable. So I'll set up in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, however you look at it, because this is probably one of the most used formations now. So the role of my right back in this 4-3-3 is going to be out of possession to defend. So if I put them here, they're going to be doing a lot of defending 1v1. They are going to have to provide a lot of cover. So if the ball is over this side of the pitch, normally they've got to have the ability to cover in there, as well as defend 1v1 out of possession out here. That's really important. So that's nice and simple skills that they need there. And then on the ball, they need the ability to be composed. And they need the ability probably to play forward, because you normally want your fullback here to be able to play forward when they can. So that's nice and simple. Now it gets a bit more complicated when you look at the modern game. Now there's this term of inverted fullbacks now. So what happens a lot in the modern game is as the ball builds down here, and it can be a midfielder drop in there or the other fullback, the fullback will be encouraged to come inside and play in here. So some teams do this, not all. Here, without out of possession, you've got to have a really good ability to screen the pass. Screen passes into the striker. So screen and your awareness out of possession has got to be excellent. Then what you're looking for in possession is again that ability to be composed, but in a tighter area, but also to play penetrating passes. So from this position, you want this player to be able to play these passes in here, which will normally be against really compact, organised defences. So can they play that little pass in there, which maybe a bit of disguise, a bit of cuteness, as well as switch play. So in here, can they do that? Are they composed? And if needed, can they switch play out here? So that's another position a modern right back would need. The other things that a modern right back has to do is play all the way up here. So when a modern right back's playing up here, in possession, you're looking for the ability to beat players one-on-one. You're looking for the ability to cross. And first of all, the physicality to be able to get up and down to do that. So that is what you're playing. If you've got a player there, that's what you want them to do. You're going to look that when they lose the ball, they can press quickly on transition. So counter press if needed as soon as they lose the ball, or recover really quickly to get back in and help. Now, the other things they need to do here, it's not always an overlap, they also need to underlap. So if they're coming into this area of the pitch, you need them to be able to underlap. And once players get into here, they've got to be able to finish, because you want players that can finish from in there. So you've got players that are coming in here, can they finish? So that's what you're looking for your player when they're attacking up here. The other thing that can happen to the fullback, depending on what the other team play, is the other fullback might end up being in here as part of a back three. So then they really need the ability to play as a centre back. Finally, to make it really complicated, a lot of players now, you'll find them, there's not a lot to be fair, but more and more players having to do is play on the other side. So in possession, they need the ability to use both feet. So when we look at a modern fullback, they have to be able to underlap and finish, beat 1v1s, cross, have good physicality as well, in possession, be composed and can play forward, can play penetrating passes and switch play, and have the ability to use both feet. That's in possession. Then out of possession, defend 1v1, cover, operate as a centre back, have good screening and awareness skills in here, and understanding of when to press quickly or recover in here, which will add the physicality part of it as well. So when we talk about, especially about younger players and other players understanding different formations and playing different positions, this is a reason why they need to do it. Because players that play in here all the time or in here all the time aren't going to learn a lot about screening passes, because there's not normally many players behind them. They're not going to be overly always aware of what's over their shoulder. Are they going to be playing a lot of composed penetrating passes in tight areas if they're playing back here? Probably not, because you're going to be a bit more risk averse. So they need to get opportunities to play up here. And if you want them to be good at beating players 1v1 and be able to finish, they need opportunities to play up this end of the pitch as well. So if this is a modern defender, we need to think as coaches, how do we develop all of these skills in players to help them adapt for the modern game and to reach their potential of playing at the highest level they can possibly play at.